Hi, I'm Jenny, and this is the first Q&A of 2021. You have asked your questions on Instagram and on YouTube here on the community tag, so let's get started. First one, Nautilus or Royal Oak? Well, hot take, neither. The Royal Oak is a bit too industrial for me. For some reason, the Nautilus, like the classic 5711, that just screams grandpa watch to me. I think it's the color that kind of puts me off. So, if I may, I would go for an Aquanaut, the 5167A, the full steel black dial, but with the rubber strap, the black rubber strap. That would be perfect. Such a casual watch. I would go for this one instead of Nautilus or Royal Oak. Sorry. What are you considering for your next watch purchase? I have been eyeing a Cartier Santos from the 90s. It's an automatic one. It's a lady size, so it's a smaller case. You know, I got very lucky when going for a substitute buy for my tank because I really wanted a Cartier tank, and I went for a Psycho tank that I will put up here. But I don't think there is anything similar to a Santos, and I love Cartier dials and I really want one. So I think I'm going to go for this one. But I do have some saving up to do first, so fingers crossed it will happen soon. What's missing in today's world of watches? That one made me think for a second. But what is really missing, in my opinion, is the transparency in terms of the design process when it comes to new watches. Because imagine how cool would it be if we would know like who designed it, who's like the design team or the designer, what were their ideas and thoughts behind it, what was the thought process and all that stuff, which would be super interesting, I think. How cool would it be to know the reasons for certain decisions? I mean, let's take the Chronomaster from Zenith, for example. It would be cool to hear kind of the thought process behind it and see who the people are who came up with it. I would love that. So I think transparency is definitely missing, and I would really appreciate it. A lot of people are asking me, how old am I? Well, I'm 29. I'm also Scorpio, for all of those Scorpios out there. Yep, turning 30 this year. Best travel watch roll, 2 or 3 watches for safety, watches, quality, and looks. Right, so I'm going to shamelessly plug myself here because I am 100% convinced that we have the perfect watch roll for you. Some of you might know that my husband Kai and I, we do sell our own handmade watch rolls in our German online shop. So I'm super excited to tell you that I am now launching my own international online shop too. I'll open the shop on March 21st, and I will leave a link down below where you can subscribe to get a reminder as soon as I go live with the shop. And I know what you're thinking. Shipping to the US, etc. is super expensive, but I got you covered. We will offer a completely free shipping to almost all countries and also free returns in case you change your mind. I mean, Kai and me, we were looking for watch rolls for our own watches back in 2019, and we were pretty disappointed by most of the watch rolls because they all had at least one of like these huge big no-nos and major flaws. They were either super cheaply made, used very like strange looking or like cheap feeling materials, and what's most importantly, they had no separation between the watches. So when you put them inside, they would just bang against each other when you would be traveling with them or just carrying them around with you. So that's why our own watch rolls are completely handmade from genuine leather, and they have individual cushions and, more importantly, separated cushions for each watch, so to store them nice and secure. And well, they look absolutely stunning too. And I love how you can not only see but also feel that they're absolutely high quality. And I mean, I do care a lot about my watches, so I am happy that I have finally found a role for them, which they truly deserve. So don't miss our launch on the 21st of March this year, and I'm happy to welcome you to our growing base of thousands of satisfied customers. When do you remove your watch? Cooking, showering, sleeping? To be honest, and I think a lot of people do that. If not, let me know in the comments down below. As soon as I get home, take my coat off, take my shoes off, wash my hands, and then take my watch off. I know, when I'm at home, I want to feel as comfortable as possible. I also am that person who will change into a different set of clothes, like something comfortable. That includes taking off my watch, because like when you're at home, you do all sorts of things and it kind of gets in the way to me. So I usually do not wear watches at home. But let me know what you do. I think a lot of people also take off their watches when they're at home. So yeah, whenever I leave the house, I'm wearing a watch like 90% of the time, but I will take it off when I get home, so I do remove it. K.Chaykin Clown 2 Audacity Views. I just got one and love the strange thing. Well, it is strange, that's for sure. Well, congratulations. I think it was limited edition. That one kind of needs a trigger warning because that clown face is intense. But here's the thing. I really like the artistic aspect of it. Necessarily, like, the design wouldn't be my thing. I wouldn't wear it personally, but I do love artistic dials in general. Like, as soon as a dial is different or special, and you can tell there's a lot of thought and work that went into, I'm super happy about it. And it doesn't even have to be my taste. I just really respect the art behind it. So that's not my thing, but I'm super happy that it is yours and that people actually wear those out and about. I think that's great. Another question I get asked a lot: any hobbies other than watches, or what do I do besides watches? I do archery. Can you say that? Doing archery? I shoot arrows, basically, but not competitive, just like for myself, basically, just for the fun. To me, shooting is very relaxing, so I focus on that aspect. I obviously do want to improve my skills as well, but that's secondary. I used to go to the gym a lot, but they're closed now, so that's that. And besides that, I do enjoy drawing or like watching Netflix, like that kind of like basic stuff. But yeah, those would be my hobbies, I guess. What do I think about the new Moser Alpha Swiss final update? You mean the Swiss Alp final update? That was probably a typo. Love it. Freaking genius. So amazing. If you haven't already, make sure to check it out. It's basically, the case looks very much like a smartwatch, an Apple Watch. And they released a couple of them this is now the last one from Moser. And it's a DLC coated rectangular case. With a Vanta black dial. How amazing is that? And you got an hour and a minute hand. And then at like the 6 o'clock position, there's a sub dial. It's a small seconds display, I think, but it looks like the preloading animation. Like I said, I love it. Moser is so great with those pieces. They just know how to make a watch that does not feel old-fashioned, but uses all these old-fashioned things to create something completely new. Mad respect for Moser for doing that. And unfortunately, it is a limited edition. I believe it's 55 or 50 pieces. So I will probably never ever get to hold one, but I would love to. Anyways, go check it out. It's really great and I absolutely love it. What do I think about watches which have excessive amounts of diamonds on them? Again, I love it. It's something I probably would not wear because I can't afford it. I once was holding a completely iced out Rolex Datejust. It was aftermarket, duh. So it's like a full iced out dial, case, bracelet, everything, and it looked incredible. And that's the thing, on pictures it doesn't really show how amazing it is, but then when you see it in person, live, and you hold it, it's so sparkly. It's like the sun shining back at you. It's definitely a statement piece, and you know what? If you can afford it, if that's your thing, wear it. Honestly, so cliche, but you do only live once, and if that's what you want to wear, go for it. Like I said, if I could afford it, I would go for it and I would wear it, and I would not care what other people would think about it. My worst moment ever when you drop or damage your watch. Oh, dang. Some of you might remember my first watch that I have shown in one of my previous Q&As. My children's watch, the Jimmy Penderlegs, the blue dial with the pink strap. I wanted to see if I can get it back to life and to make it work again. So I wanted to see if I can, just pop open the case back and replace the battery. And I don't know what went wrong, but I opened the case back and everything just like sprang towards me. All these little parts from the watch, and it's a tiny, tiny watch, so the parts are even tinier. And it all just broke apart and sprung out of the case. And I wasn't able to put it back together. So now it's even more broken than it was before. And I just taped the case back on, shoved it all inside and called it a day. I would say that's the worst moment so far in my damaging watch history. Is two-tone gonna be the next trend? Well, to be honest, I think two-tone already is a trend now. And also the full gold, the solid gold models as well. I mean, let's address the elephant in the room. We are talking about Rolex here, I guess. I mean, obviously you can't really get the steel sports models right now. It's very difficult, or you have to pay super high grey market prices. So people switch to other models like the two-tone ones or even the solid gold ones. And I don't mind it. I think it's really cool. I don't think it's going to go away anytime soon. I myself am a big fan of the rose gold that Rolex uses. I think this is a very, very nice rose gold. It's not too pinkish. It's not too orangey. It's very perfect. And it suits a lot of skin colors as well, which is really nice. So if I were to go for a two-tone, I would probably go for a smaller Datejust with a Jubilee bracelet, have it two-tone rose gold with a fluted bezel. I think that would be my go-to two-tone. Or another thing that's really cool, if we talk about non-Rolex two-tone, a Santos in two-tone as well. I think they don't have a rose gold option, but they have yellow gold as well, which looks nice. That would be another very cool, I think, two-tone watch that you could consider if that's your cup of tea too. Ooh, dogs or cat? Oh, definitely both. We do have a family dog, but Kai and I also have a cat, so I can't decide. They're both great. It's different, definitely, but amazing both ways, so I can't decide on that. What is my main job? This is my main job now, which I'm very happy to say. I have been doing YouTube since 2 years now. Been doing it for 2 years. I mean, obviously started on the German channel, behind the camera, and now the Jenni L channel is 1 year old since January of this year, which I'm super happy and proud of. But yeah, this is my main job. I used to work in a consultancy for a while, just a couple of months. I also did lots and lots of retail jobs. Worked for Hollister, for example. I also was a personal trainer at a women's only gym. That was fun. What else did I do? Waitressing also. But that's my main thing now, YouTube. And we're going to switch over to YouTube. Do you recommend any books for beginning horologists? Beginning horologists. Well, if you want to start into like looking at watches and learn a bit more about it, I would recommend the watch book from Brunner. I do have it here. It's a background prop, but I do take it out whenever I want to do a bit of research. Wait a second, I'm going to get it real quick. So that one, does it show? Yeah. This one's really great. Basically, a good overview of all different sorts of watch manufacturers and watch brands, and you have every description of the brands in English, French, and German. Get a lot of nice pictures in there as well. For example, that's the Junghans chapter. It's alphabetically sorted. And then you get lots and lots of pictures. It starts with the English description, and it's basically like a brand overview. So I would recommend that one just to have a cool, sort of like a lexicon, but for watch brands. Another one which I recently got, which I also like, but that's more for the Rolex fan girls and boys and everything in between. Let me get that for you. So it's the Vintage Rolex by David Silver. I really like this one. It's more picture focused, so there's not much written content about the vintage Rolexes, but like a reference book when you come across a vintage Rolex and you don't really know where to put it time-wise. I bought this mainly for the chapter on day dates and the stellar dials. I think that has to be my favorite chapter. So yeah, definitely check that out if you're into Rolex. Another one which I really enjoyed was the one on naughty watches, the erotic watch dial book. That one is unfortunately German only, but there's lots and lots of pictures. But there are plenty of great books out there. So let me know in the comments down below if you have any book recommendations, so we can have like a nice archive of watch books in the comments down below. Next up, doesn't it bug non-English speakers that Swiss and German watchmakers write in English on their watches? Why isn't this a bigger controversy? I think you have already answered your question. It just doesn't bother non-English speakers, I guess. I mean, it doesn't bother me, and I do think it would look a bit weird if there would be something in German on a dial, French or whatever. I mean, English is a world language and many people do speak and understand it, so I don't mind it. Which are the lesser known German watch brands that you think are better than average? See, that's a bit difficult to answer, because what is average? I think average is a very subjective thing, but I would say the lesser known German watch brands that you could check out out are, for example, Dornblüt. I've heard a lot of great things about them, or Damasco as well. I think they are stationed very close to where I live, so south of Germany. I heard great things about them as well. And if you are looking for something a bit more refined, high-end, and very artistic, I would recommend you check out Kudoke. Those dials are incredible. It's a watchmaker from the northeast, I want to say. You have very minimalistic looking dials, but also very intricate skeletonized designs. So if you look for something very special from Germany, I would definitely recommend Kudoke. How often do you get your watches serviced? I think a lot of watch channels miss out mentioning this. I would specifically be interested in Rolexes. So how often do I get my watches serviced? To be honest, I have not owned a Rolex for long enough to actually bring it to my AD to get it serviced. But I think for Rolex, the recommendation is every 10 years or so. But I've heard from a lot of watchmakers that if your watch is not running late, or if there's no issue with accuracy or everything else is fine, you don't necessarily have to bring it in. What you can do and what is recommended, and I would recommend you as well, once a year you can take it to your AD and put it on, I think it's called a time grapher, and see if everything's okay. Perhaps like do a water resistance test. If everything's fine, then you're good to go. For Omega, for example, I think it's, I want to say 5 to 7-ish years, the recommended service interval time. And wasn't it Oris who, with their new Aquis, they recommend also the 10 years as well, service time, if I'm not mistaken. So I would recommend bring it to your AD once a year, have it checked. If everything's fine, if you don't notice anything different about it, that's cool. And then as soon as it starts acting funny, I would perhaps bring it into service, but not sooner. Mr. Zelle with that Beethoven avatar, does seeing an A. Lange on a NATO strap make you cry too? Shout out to the Instagram account Lange on a NATO. It doesn't make me cry. I think that account shows that you can wear a Lange on a Nato in a way that works, and I really like it. I mean, I really don't mind it. It's a brave thing to do, but I would say go and push the limits, wear it on a NATO strap if that makes you happy. I guess it's pretty comfortable as well. So no, it doesn't make me cry. Right, so that was it for today's Q&A. Thank you so much for sending in all of your questions on YouTube and on Instagram. If you have enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!